Hello guys, so today we're gonna be talking about the latest update on the COVID situation on in Japan. So Japan has the COVID situation around Japan has rapidly decreasing, in which they have today. I think today they have around 800 cases, new cases around that. And then from what I heard is that Japan has only logged around 100 something, 130 something cases, I think. And then the next thing I'm gonna be talking about will be the Prime Minister going to be speaking, the new Prime Minister going to be speaking on television. Prime Minister Fumio-san is going to speak tomorrow at around 7 p.m. I think Japan time. It is. It's gonna be, I think, about all the situations happening around the COVID, economics, and the foreign policy. And about the foreign policy, I wish that tomorrow is gonna be talking about lifting the border restriction, which is very much, well, I have been writing on Twitter, but of course, you guys, if you guys haven't seen it, I think my account name is in Japan 666 at in Japan 666, in which I'm talking about how how that how is that other country allows their students to enter their country to learn and study, while Japan they still not aren't allowed to any long-term students or worker or basically foreigners stranded outside of Japan to come to Japan, which is very much confusing for me. And even now, Japan has already let short-term Malaysian students to enter Japan, which is also very much unfair, I would say, since that why is it that privately privately finance students are not allowed in to Japan or even foreigners? As you can see, I would say, even I would ask, what's the difference between people who have re-entry COE versus people who have new entry of COE? What's the major difference between them? I mean, one of them has already lived in Japan for basically God knows how long. But then the new entry is not something like, I would say, dangerous or anything. It's not like they don't understand the rules of COVID, like quarantine and situation. You can just explain them after they arrive at the airport. It's not that difficult. And also, like, we're we're not like running away from the, let's just say, if when during quarantine we will, like, I think many of the foreigners stranded outside of Japan will not be escaping quarantine. I mean, if there's one, then of course they are deservedly punished or even deported. But then for, let's say, some of us, I mean, not even some, most of us have been really like accepting. Let's just say if Japan wanted to do the quarantine, 14 days quarantine, or even, let's just say, wearing a hazmat suit on once arrived in Japan, it's not something very much usual, even though. But then we are still accepting it. I think as a student, foreign student, or foreigners, like, as long as we get to Japan, that's the only thing that is really matter. To be honest, like, I don't know. I don't really care what's after that. I pretty sure lots of people stranded outside of Japan as also the same idea is that as long as we arrive, it's then fine for you guys, for Japan to do anything, as long as we are not, let's just say, violating some of the rules that they would be putting on. Let's say quarantining. Let's say you're forced to quarantine 2 weeks. I mean, I don't really care about the quarantine, even though it will be mentally taxing. But one of the positive about it will be that I'm arriving in Japan, so which means that I don't need to wait about when I could get the visa. How about if my CU is dead, like that, or even expired? Like it has affected the a lot of foreigners stranded outside of Japan to be really struggling with both mental and physical and financially. It's very difficult too for them, and for even some of them who just struggling with with the finances because they can't really wait any longer because they have already prepared to move to Japan, but then it's not open till now, which is really concerning. And not not a lot of people have that kind of financial luxury like other who are maybe just can at least stay in their country and wait until Japan is open. Some of them don't really have that kind of thing, which is the reason why a lot of them would just move to South Korea. And even I would say is that South Korea, I think, has already started to accept the students once the COVID has gone down. Why Japan can't do that? That's the question. Like you could see even Australia and New Zealand, they at least give some expected time, even though it might not be accurate, but at least students and foreigners stranded outside of Japan would know what when they might be able to enter enter Australia or even New Zealand. But Japan, they just don't give any date, any time, which makes us as a foreigner to be confused. When can I enter? Without any date and time, it feels like we're being left out like that. As I say, it's almost like we're being exiled like that. I would say as a situation wise. Not only that is that us as a people, us as foreigners struggling. Also in Japan, it's also difficult for them because they don't really have any like their business is dependent on foreigners coming to Japan, and of course, foreigners who have been living in Japan for let's say 3 years, 2 years, 6 months, 10 years, they already know what's the thing on Japan, which is the reason why business is difficult to bloom. And to make it worse, I don't think Japan will, even if Japan would really focus on domestic travel, the big issue around that is that the GoTo program, is domestic travel program, is not really that good when a wave of bankruptcies happening in Japan, and then Kyoto is nearly on its is already on its knee and nearly collapsed the economy of Kyoto, and stuff like this is very concerning. And if let's just say they just open the border for this new new people who are new foreigners who are coming to Japan for a purpose, at least they would also be trying to travel around domestically. Like it's very it's very, I would say, direct on this kind of situation. But then if let's just say Japan do open, they also have the option to close it again. And even though we might not like it, but of course they can close it again when as the situation is getting worse, a little bit worse and dangerous. Then they can close it again. It's not like once it's open they would not close it again. They can close it again, but what's the important point is right now we're seeing that Japan is in very very low risk, and to accept any foreigners who have purpose to come to Japan is something that is very much, I would say, important. As you can see, if like you can test run this, because if you just accept travelers of coming outside of Japan to come into Japan, it will be much more of mayhem, I would say. Even if I would say they can, because Olympic is different from foreigners like that. It's different because they already have the list already prepared 6 months ago and everything has already been done. But then for this, I think foreigners with a purpose. The thing is that if they want to open the border better, I think it's best to open the visa application right now, because like at least you already know the list of people who are coming to Japan. To avoid the bigger problem, I would say that it's better to let the visa application open until, as I say, end of October, just say to let all of the people visa to be done, and then let them in slowly, and then we are seeing, at least we can already see like list of people who are coming in. We can see that also students have already had the visa, so that they only need to concern about the border opening, because like now a lot of students, foreign students, and maybe people started with a purpose, they cannot even apply for their visa as their visa application is closed. Like, I don't think applying a visa would increase the rate of COVID for Japan. I don't really see that happening. I don't think it's affecting Japan at all. But then to open the border is something that's, like, as I say, on the table right now. I think you can start to let people apply for the visas again. So at least you can know how many people might have how many people are going to come to Japan. Like you can see Singapore opening up. You can see even Singapore, there have been more cases than Japan. That's number one. Number two, they are also struggling to hold down the COVID, but they still open the border. That's the question that I'm gonna be asking towards Japan if they even watch my videos. Is that what's make them not what is the thing that makes them worried about opening the border towards these foreigners with a purpose? It's not like we're a virus or we're trying to spread go to Japan to spread virus or anything. We are following the rules. We are even wearing a mask during, like we are wearing a mask going outside. I would say most of us, I not all I would say, but I would say most of us would be really compliant with complying the rules. None of us might be like very sneakily just going out like that, escaping the quarantine rule and not wearing mask like that, or even not wearing mask. That's the answer. It's that maybe some a little, like one of 10, like that, one of the maybe millions, I'd say, might be a little naughty, but I it's very small fraction of people doing that. Well, I think most of us would be really understanding towards each other, and towards Japan, that they don't want to face the sixth wave, as you can see. And of course, me as a student itself would understand that, and would really comply with the rules and regulation around Japan. So why they still don't want to open the border, or even the visa application is quite astounding, as a person trying to get into Japan, when I could see other can apply visa or even go into Japan. Like, if let's just say you can say Australia, they are not opening, maybe I would say it's possible because are their COVID situation are rising. But for Japan, their COVID situation are in a very much stable situation. It's very concerning that what they do might affect in the later years. And even some Japanese have already been really advocating to what's opening the border. The university also, basically the whole mass of Japanese people also has been trying to open tell the government to open the border, but the government still insisting on closing it until now. Well, tomorrow is the day where the prime minister will be talking about this situation, and I really wish that and hope that he would see this matter really seriously and open it as soon as possible. Well, at least even if they don't, if he don't open it, at least open the visa application first. That's one of the most important thing that I really wish it could be done now. I could apply it now, but of course currently nothing is open yet. I have been very tired of waiting. That I think that I will not expect anything out of this new prime minister. Even if he opens it, then I would be very happy. And if he still don't want to open it, then I would be like, all right, well, it's basically a waiting game. Like, I would say that if people are changing the direction from Japan maybe to South Korea, like hopefully South Korea is also opening. I don't know if they are open or not. I haven't checked, but hopefully Japan will be opening as soon as possible, which I am very not hopeful about, because basically if I am very hopeful every time, then I would be feeling stressed every day, and I would be very much that on feeling and my brain. I mean, expecting anything out of this government is also something that's difficult for me to really talk about, because I am not, like, as you can see in these past few years, the government has been good and something and bad at something. Then I would say that they might still not don't want to open the border. I don't think he was tomorrow he might say that I this is if what he would say would be exactly what I think is would be, is that we are still currently seeing out the situation. We're thinking that we the choice of opening the borders in the play in the table, like that. Nothing is decided yet. We still need to see the situation around Japan in a few days, in which I would see it's already like very stable, very good situation. As you can see recently, state of emergency has been open up, and people have been traveling around Japan too. But we still don't want to risk it. Of course, that's the real hindsight. The truth is that we still don't want to risk it. We are very uncertain about the situation. We are very scared that if we open it up, then COVID will jump like hell, like as if the foreigners with a purpose to come to Japan will be very what you say it will be not complying with these rules, and just become very naughty. I would say it's naughty at some in some way, in which breaking the rules and try to spread the virus, in which we never would have done it. That's the answer that I would say. But I don't think any government, Japanese government, will inside the government or even the prime minister would not touch this video, of course. But then, if I would say that, I think that's what he would say. Basically, is just in the hindsight is that we don't want to risk anything. We want to be 100% sure that and certain is that these people will not bring virus and will not cause a sixth wave, which I don't think it will happen. But if it happened, I do think that they could still close the border. It's not like the once open it can never close. Like, it's also very upsetting that they are very, like, that's why I would say that the government that's Japan are in is very one-sided. It's very conservative, as in that everything they do is like a fact machine. Basically, it's like very conventional, very much want to take the 100%. Like, if there's a 0 to 100%, so if you 0.1% chance versus 100% chance, even though the 0.1% chance is riskier, but it's say even 25%, it's riskier, but it's a better option for the future. It might be successful or not, but they still want to insist on this 100%, even though it's not it's not that bad. But I mean, it's also not that good, it's just very average. That's also the reason why Japan is very, it's second towards South Korea. South Korea is the best because are a risk taker. Even though they felt something, but they would also try and argue. They would not be afraid to take some risks, which is why they are very popular. Like if anyone wants to go to war with to South Korea, I would say the whole world would even shout to the government to go to war against the one who opposes South Korea. That's the way that I would say. But then I would say Japan is a land of opportunity. But then if one way or another the government is very conventional, very one-sided, not is very scared to take those risks, I would say it's also difficult. There will be a problem, and economies around Japan is very much uncertain. I would say that businesses opening businesses in Japan will become a much more difficult choice to do rather than opening businesses in South Korea, because opening business in South Korea it will be much more profitable than in Japan. That's the problem. But I think, yeah, I mean that's what I'm gonna be talking about. But I would be really hope that he would be opening, even though I don't expect him to be saying that. Yeah, we're gonna be opening the border tomorrow. We're gonna be opening a visa application by tomorrow. I don't think he would even say that. I would be sure that he would say, we are seeing the situation around the, and we might be thinking about opening, but even though they would say, I would say that very low chance that they would open it. But they would say, I've been thinking about opening the border. I would be saying, even he would say, yeah, we are considering it opening, even though we could not really give any kind of things to be what the situation, because they are very xenophobic. But if my prediction is wrong, and hopefully my prediction is wrong, that if you flip this thing and say that they're opening up, then I would rather that my prediction is wrong. But I do think that it is very high chance it might be right that tomorrow. But let's see. But for now, guys, hopefully you guys like this video. Subscribe and comment and share this video for more future videos. And see you guys next week. Bye bye.